Practice makes perfect. If it doesn't work, you'll learn how to hack it. Come the dawn of undead legion surrounding you, Dean will figure out a hack to help you make it through. Got my dial on Hack a Week, keeping our brains.
Hi, welcome to hack number 28, the overhead camera boom assembly made from PVC pipe, polyvinyl chloride. Fun stuff. I got all this stuff at the hardware store, spent a little under $40 on the whole setup, and the whole thing will slide back and forth like this, and the boom articulates around all over the place. I can move the camera anywhere I want and it'll just stay there. Pretty nifty. So follow along and I'll show you how to build one of these things. Here's all the goodies for the new webcam overhead boom that I want to build for the new shop here. I got a big old fluorescent light going on. I want to mount something up on the top of the workbench so I can have this new camera, the nifty new LifeCam Studio Microsoft 1080p high definition. Nice camera, looking forward to using that, and I want to set it up so that I can move it anywhere around here and be able to record stuff I'm doing on the bench and maybe some projects, and for Ustream, for video conferencing, whatever. So I've got this idea to make this whole thing out of PVC, and it's a pretty cool build. We'll get started here by looking at all these pieces. These are all going to go together and get mounted up along the top here, and when I'm all done, the whole thing will slide back and forth and be able to tilt up and down, and I can point it at the bench and do whatever I need to get it to point at cool projects I'm working on. Let's get started. This piece is going to mount up top, and I've already put one piece on the end, which is an elbow with a NPT thread. And I've got some stuff here called plumber's grease that I'm going to use on this pipe, and it'll help lubricate it a little bit, because what's going to go on here is this coupler, which has some rubber bushings in it that will squeeze the pipe a little bit. That's going to go on this, and then that's going to serve as my slider back and forth for the main mount to move back and forth over the workbench. So I've got to put a little bit of this plumber's grease stuff on the... Whoa! That's crazy. It sticks to the top too. Just a little bit of this, I think, is going to go a long way. So I'm going to put just a little bit on the rubber bushing that's in here. So there we go. That's on there. Now that can slide back and forth along there like that. So now we need to put the other elbow on this end. And we're going to put a little PVC cement on there, which is a solvent weld cement, which means that it basically, it's a solvent that makes the plastic soft. Actually binds it together with the other plastic. So you put a little on each piece, twist it around a little and slide it together, and then we want to make sure we get them both even. And there we go. That's our first step out of the way. So the next thing that we need to do is mount this whole thing to some pipe flanges. It's called a floor flange, and it's meant to screw to a floor, and the pipe can come up from the floor. These are 1/2 inch, and they'll go on these two ends right here, and then that'll let me mount this thing overhead. So I think I'll have enough clearance between that and this piece right here by the time I put them on. Let's go ahead and screw those on. They just need to be kind of snug. And we'll leave the holes so they're accessible for the screwdriver. room. Yes, we do. Everything slides back and forth okay. Now this whole thing will mount overhead. Get one screw in this end first. I try to get it centered. And there we go. Okay. Put the rest of the screws in. There we go. We got the central mount ready to go. So I can slide back and forth like so. Now we make the part that comes down off from this. It has the boom on it that the camera can sit on. All this stuff's got to get assembled now, so what I need to do is couple this piece to that overhead piece. I need to cut some small pieces of PVC. The best thing to cut PVC with is a PVC cutter. It's much better than trying to use a hacksaw. These things go for anywhere from like $12 to $30 depending on the quality, but they're really convenient because it's basically a knife blade that just slices right through the PVC. And if your finger's in there, it'll slice it right off. Chicken bones, ribs, you know, anything. Let's go ahead and glue this little piece in here, like so. And that's going to connect to one of my couplers. So I'm going to take that coupler and glue it now to that part. A little bit of cement there, a little bit of cement there. You don't need a lot, just as long as there's some on each piece. Twist it a little bit. There it is together. There's JFET coming in to see what's going on. Hi JFET. Alright. Now I need to take these apart and get a little bit of that lubey stuff in there and lock these down to where they have a little friction on them. I'll have to put everything together to decide how much friction I want on them, but there we go. That's the basics of what's going to happen here. And this is called a union. In plumbing you would use this if you needed to couple two pipes and you couldn't pull them apart too far to do it, you know, to get a coupler in, so you can take the two cut pieces of pipe, hook them to this, and then put this together. It's got an O-ring in it. I'm going to use this as a friction device, like a swivel. So I'm going to put some of that plumber's grease on here, silicone grease, and then this will go against that, and it'll be like a little friction, sort of like a fluid head tripod. And so I can tighten that down, and it'll still move a little bit of friction. And then what I can do is drill a hole in this once I get this set to the friction I want, and then I will tap it with a 1/4-20 and run one of these 1/4-20 screws into it to lock it into that position. See, I can adjust the friction on it now. It's probably about right. And then I can lock it down like so it doesn't move anywhere. And that's that. Now we'll mount this one to the overhead, and then we'll be ready to put the boom on this end that's going to hold the camera. Okay, let's glue that boom onto this thing and see if it's actually going to hold it. This is kind of the moment of truth here. See if I've got enough friction on this thing to actually hold this up, along with the weight of the camera here in a little while as well. Extra glue running down there that I don't want, so let's get rid of that. On the end where I'm going to mount the camera, I've got an idea here for, I'm going to just put an elbow on, and I don't think I'm going to glue it. I think I'm going to go ahead and just leave it where I can move it, because if I want to change the angle for some reason, I'll be able to do so. And then the part where the camera is going to mount will be this little plug right here. And I'll put a 1/4-20 in that as well. And then that'll screw into the base of the camera. Well, that's it. The new movable boom is in place, and it's pretty cool. Let me get some slack in the cable here. I've got my Microsoft 1080p life cam here. Right now it's kind of showing this area over here, and if I move the boom like this, and I just rotate this around, rotate my camera around, and I can be right over here by my area where I'm working. And I can move it up here if I want, point it down like that. I can put it all the way back at that end by flipping it around. If I want to move it down this way, I just loosen this up a little, tighten that back down. I can get right down on the workbench, really, really close to stuff. So let's take a look at what we're looking at here in the workbench right now. This thing has got a nice little autofocus feature. I really like that. I like this boom setup. It's really cool. I can just kind of move it anywhere I want to. Get a different view back here. Autofocus kicks in. I can swing it around where it's way back. Turn the camera back around and get a different point of view from way back here if I want to. I can also get an angle from here. Get the cable out of the way. This is probably the setup I'll be using to Ustream most of the time. So this is a pretty cool setup. I really like it. I can move this camera just about anywhere I want. Well, there it is. The whole thing made out of PVC, polyvinyl chloride plumbing parts, put together in a way that the engineers that designed them never really thought they would be. It's a pretty cool setup. I'll be using this to do my Ustream videos and the Hack-A-Week videos. Check out my Ustream stuff. It's in the link down there, the usual place in the description. So until next time, keep on hacking.
Got my dial on Hack-A-Week, keeping our brains off of the street. The sound system's rolling sweet. Don't want the zombies to have a feast. Dean's our local scavenger in town.